the birthplace of jazz. Blues and jazz have always influenced each other and they still interact in countless ways today. Without getting technical, blues tunes, most of them, are 12 bars, 12 measures. Today's blues stretches out a little more, but in relationship to jazz, it's still the 12-bar blues. And a good example is the two blues that are going to be done today. The Thrill is Gone. That's a 12-bar blues. And Miles's All Blues. So in relationship to the 12 bars, they're used throughout. Added to that, well-known blues pioneers of the 1920s, Son House, Blind Lemon Jefferson, Lead Belly, Charlie Patton, Robert Johnson, most of them performed solo. And what jazz groups added, when I say solo, they were guitar players, and jazz groups added wind instruments. And this incorporated extending chord progressions, changes, and the music has been expanded to I don't know where and where it's going to be going. To cut this short, the B.B. King had some of the greatest jazz musicians, to name a few. George Joyner, Jimmy Merritt, both bass players, George Coleman, tenor player, Carl Adams, trumpet player, Charles Lord. All these guys played coming from blues bands. And many great musicians, jazz musicians, came out of Bobby's band, Bobby Blue Band's band. And it's a continuation of blues and jazz are intertwined and will always be together.
Thank you. Excellent presentation. Now we'll hear from Mr. Berry.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Bo Berry. I'm from Birmingham, and went to school in a little school in the neighborhood called Rosedale. Went to Miles College, and I left school and went on the road playing. But my experience with blues was from the very beginning. As a youngster, I used to hear, used to have, well, back in my neighborhood, we call them shot houses. But I used to hear these guitar players at these shot houses playing this music, and I would ask, man, what is that? Because and my dad used to tell me, oh, he's a blues singer. And this was way before I even knew anything about any music. So my musical life began as a youngster, listening to blues. And I started playing, when I started playing with a blues guitar player out of Montgomery, Alabama, which was named Art Grayson, a great blues guitar. And that experience, just listening to him, really was an awakening to me about the blues and how the music transpired. I started listening to him, and then after I started playing professionally, I started playing with a lot of blues bands, rhythm and blues bands. And I didn't get into jazz until, I guess, maybe 15 years of playing, because I was so busy with all the blues things that was going on. And the influence at that time in my neighborhood was most of the teachers that taught music was also players. They played at night. They just weren't teachers. They had a lot they can share with you. The experience of how they did things they played at night, and the experience of the things they learned in school. My thing with blues was always, it was a part of life. It was a part of the things that people went through at this time. Again, I started playing, and I played with a lot of great musicians. I played with Ellis Marcellus, Wynton Marcellus. I played with a lot of big bands. I learned, I started studying, and back I noticed in the 20s, Jelly Roll, King Oliver, and Louis Armstrong, even in their music, there was a lot of influence, blues influence. And I started really paying attention to jazz. After I started playing jazz, I really got into really paying attention to the relationship of blues and jazz. And as he said, they were 12-bar blues. The first thing I learned was boom, 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 but everybody learned that. And, 1-4-5, right? And from that, my teacher used to always tell me, you can expand this. He bought me things to listen to. And I noticed jazz, most of the influence of jazz musicians was from the blues. It was just what they did. They started expanding on substitute chords and different approaches to how to play the blues. But most jazz artists, most of the songs that they played was blues influence. There was a lot of influence from blues that they put into it. I noticed when I was growing up, the blues was very, very popular, and especially, especially on the radio. That's all you heard was blues, And what I did was, like I said, I began to pay attention to all these things like BB. I heard him, I was listening to BB when I was a youngster, because my parents, they played a lot of BB stuff. And my belief in the relationship of the music is the way, it's part of life. It's the things that these people went through, they was able to express through music, And I think blues will always be a part of the majority of music that's going on now, And one thing I've been trying to tell most of the young musicians is, you say you want to play, go back and learn how to play the blues. That's the first thing. And once you learn that, it'll carry you a long way, because that is the foundation, I believe, of the music in general. Yeah.
Good morning. I'm London Branch. This thrill is strong. So away from me. Oh, the thrill is strong, baby. It's not away from me. Oh, no, I know spare. The reason we picked The Thrill Is Gone and Miles Davis is all blues. These are two blues songs that made somebody a lot of money. Both of them were Grammy-winning songs, and there's an interesting contrast somewhat between the two songs, but they're very similar in many ways because they're both the blues. Yeah, Miles Davis, all blues. My mentor and friend, Mr. Joe Jennings. Oh, you gonna play the music, tradition. Let's try to take over Miles' blues. So we get ready for the next panel discussion.